Hello, my name is Tara Lujan, and I am in MBA 690, which is Strategic Management with Professor Brandon Schultz at Concordia, University of Nebraska. For my final project, I decided to assess Ford Motor Company. So some background information. Ford was founded in 1896 by Henry Ford. It is the second largest U.S. automaker behind General Motors and the fifth largest in the world based on vehicle sales. They offer a wide variety of vehicles from the smaller models like the Fiesta, Focus, Fusion to big models such as the Explorer, Expedition, and so on. And Ford also manufactures trucks and vans, including the F-150 pickup truck, which according to our text David and David is the most popular truck in the world for 32 years running. In addition to this, Ford also sells commercial vehicles, so they're a very well-rounded car manufacturer. There are over 3,000 Ford and Lincoln dealerships in the U.S. alone, according to Matthew DeBoard. And while Ford has been seen as a true American car company, they do a lot of outsourcing today, so they've actually dropped from the list of American-made vehicles, which is, they're getting it done either way. So Ford still continues to be a very trusted car brand. They use forward, backward, and horizontal integration. In terms of forward integration, they have franchise dealerships, and that's one of their obvious forms. They also partnered with a company called AutoFi at some of their Ohio dealerships, which it's a tech company that basically cuts out the middleman in the car buying process, so the salesman and the accountant. Unfortunately, it doesn't cut out the entire process of going to the dealership because you still have to go in and sign and pick up the car, but it is a step in a really cool direction for Ford. So they also engage in backward integration, and Ford owns a company called Motorcraft that's an auto parts and motor oil manufacturer. Motorcraft not only makes parts for Ford and Lincoln vehicles, but also some parts for other car manufacturers. And lastly, they use horizontal integration by owning Lincoln Motor Company. So that's their sort of way of getting their feet in the door of the luxury vehicles while still keeping the rugged image of Ford and not tainting that. Moving forward is, so Ford's mission and vision statement. Ford's mission statement is one Ford, one team, one plan, one goal. And an extended but shortened version of that from our text in David and David is one Ford, align employee efforts towards a common definition of success and optimize their collective strengths worldwide. One team, work together as one team to achieve automotive leadership, which is measured by the satisfaction of our customers, employees, and essential business partners such as our dealers, investors, suppliers, unions, councils, and communities. One plan, aggressively restructure to operate profitably at the current demand and changing model mix. One goal, create an exciting and viable company delivering profitable growth for all. So based on the criteria in our text for a complete mission statement, it ticks most of the boxes. The only one that they don't quite touch on in a direct way is the firm's social and environmental responsibility. However, they do, in their one team section, state that they want to satisfy their communities, and you can't satisfy community without being socially and environmentally responsible, so that's probably their way of touching on that. Their vision statement is people working together as a lean global enterprise to make people's lives better through automotive and mobility leadership. And this, again, fits the question of vision statement, which is what do we want to become, and this states that they want to become a leader in their industry, thus improving the lives of others and achieving the goal of a vision statement with that. And it's actually interesting because as of 2015, which is the year that our text was written, Ford didn't have a vision statement, and today they do, and it is absolutely essential for a company to have a vision statement, so that they can show their consumers that the company has a goal that they're working towards. So it's really good that Ford took that step and created a vision statement. All right, so a summary of the internal assessment. Their internal strengths were that they designed popular commercial trucks. Again, their F-Series trucks are some of the most popular in the world, so that's huge for Ford. They offer vehicles in a variety of price ranges. They offer vehicles anywhere from 15, 16,000 to 40, 50, 60,000. So they do satisfy a lot of consumers in that way, and they advertise their F-Series trucks by being an NFL sponsor. I think that is the perfect sponsorship for Ford because that is very American, and Ford's image that they portray is that they're a true American car company, and so I couldn't think of a more fitting sponsor. Some of their internal weaknesses was that they take longer than competition to keep up with trends. They're pretty notoriously late. Again, that can be fixed. Ford's a big company. Their truck sales decreased due to a shift towards more economical vehicles. So, again, if their Fords are their top seller and people are wanting more economical vehicles, that's a pretty big weakness. And they're also constantly trying to overcome the image that Ford is in the decline. But, you know, they're working towards it. So in terms of external assessment, some of the external opportunities for Ford is that Ford is the second largest U.S. automaker behind General Motors. That means that they've already broken those barriers to entry into the auto industry, which are super high, and they are doing well. There's also the growing demand for fuel-efficient cars in Asian countries. If Ford can latch onto that and move forward with that, they really will be quite profitable. And new uses for vehicles, i.e. Uber, Lyft, Zipcar, those are going to be huge for Ford because people want to get cars, and if they can create some fuel-efficient vehicles for those purposes, they're guaranteed going to sell wonderfully. Some external threats, there's competitive rivalry from companies such as Toyota and General Motors. It's just Ford's biggest competition, so Ford's got to stay on top. Rising fuel prices, again, that's big for their F-Series trucks because as their top seller, people aren't going to want to fill a giant tank with expensive gas, so that might be something that Ford wants to be very conscientious of. Also, there's strict GHG and fuel economy. Sorry for that notification there. There are strict GHG and fuel economy standards affecting the heavy-duty trucks and vehicles over 8,500 pounds. So that's another thing Ford's going to want to really watch out for. Let's see, the SWOT analysis. So for the SWOT analysis, it's important to note that Ford's main issues lie in people wanting more economical vehicles, people foregoing vehicles altogether due to the cost, and people's perception about Ford, as well as their CEO, Jim Hackett's lack of straightforwardness about what plans he has to change all of these issues. So there were strength-opportunity strategies, strengths-threats strategies, weakness-opportunity strategies, and weakness-threats strategies. So some of the strength-opportunity strategies for Ford, just to sum it up, aggressively advertise F-Series trucks until there is a law that says that people cannot drive those trucks. Ford needs to be pushing them like crazy. They also should increase production, add new designs for fuel-efficient vehicles to attack the issues of the growing demand for fuel-efficient cars in Asian countries. Maybe Ford could come up with a more competitive pricing range on their commercial vehicles, since most people are looking for the best deal, most companies, rather than how the commercial vehicle looks and so on. For the strength threats strategies, creating new hybrids again, and I suggested that Ford make a hybrid that could be sold in the $10,000 to $15,000 range because hybrids actually get really expensive, and if Ford can have competitive pricing, their hybrids would really stand out against the competition. Again, there's a need to sell Ford's best-selling trucks, and Jim Hackett needs to be clear about his plans to improve the company in order to make stockholders happy. And in terms of weakness opportunity strategies, Ford, due to their sexual harassment claims in the Chicago plants, it's advised that Ford takes some sort of public stance on women's rights in order to combat those issues. They really need to work on their image in that way, and that's one way that they could make a really big change. There's also the suggestions, again, of more hybrids. Let's see. Also, maybe thinking of a new material to make their F-Series trucks out of, because aluminum costs, according to the Trefis team, aluminum prices have averaged close to $1,900 per metric ton so far this year, which is around 18% higher than the average for last year. So, moving forward to the weakness threat strategies, that basically weakness threats requires taking two negatives and turning them into positives. So competitive rivalry, rising fuel prices, the need for hybrid vehicles, sexual harassment claims, poor public image, and rising costs to produce F-Series trucks were the main focus. The result was the strategies of increasing hybrid production and design, as well as staying true to the truck line. Again, taking a stance on women's rights and finding a different material for F-Series. So implementing these strategies would attempt to cause a positive shift in public opinion for Ford. So moving forward to the Boston Consulting Group matrix, you'll see that the SUVs and trucks fell in the stars section for Ford, where cars were in the cash cow section. It was difficult to do this because Ford's annual report only divided their company into cars, trucks, and SUVs, and there was no information regarding hybrids or crossovers specifically. I'm pretty confident that the hybrids would have fit into the stars section due to the rising demand for such vehicles, but SUVs and trucks fell into that section. Trucks are the most profitable for Ford, with claims by Zach Palmer that Ford sells 102 trucks per hour, meaning an average of nearly 2 people are driving off the lot with a new F-150 every minute in the U.S., 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is huge. Ford's SUVs sell in the price range of $30,000 to $50,000 on average, showing why they're stars as well. And cars fell into the cash cow segment. Again, it suggested that Ford makes some more extra hybrids. Let's see. So moving forward, some recommendations for Ford. The biggest ones, more fuel-efficient vehicles. That's just where the shift of consumer preference is going. Rising gas prices, all types of external factors, we need them. And if Ford can tackle that market successfully, they will be extremely profitable. Market F-Series trucks more heavily. So the NFL sponsorship is great, but again, due to external factors like rising fuel prices and consumer preferences, Ford's going to have to do some heavier marketing on that end to get people to want those trucks. They also need to show the ethical stances that Ford partakes in, because they have had a little bit of kerfuffles with women's harassment in the plants and things of that nature. So Ford actually partakes in a lot of ethical, Ford engages in a lot of funding. They do a lot of funding for, children and women and underprivileged areas, that they really should show the world a little bit more what they do and what kind of changes they've made in the world due to their funding and help. They also should find a different material to make the F-Series trucks out of. Again, aluminum costs are rising. They need to get that under control. It's suggested that they saturate the Asian market with new hybrid designs and design a reasonably priced hybrid. And the CEO needs to be more open about his plans for Ford. All right, so in terms of financials, according to NASDAQ, a 2018 article, over the next 5 years, the analysts that follow this company are expecting it to grow earnings at an average annual rate of 8.53%. So a way in which Ford can make sure that this happens is by following all of the previous recommendations, as well as, one of the precautions that they need to take is ensuring that the value of their used vehicles does not decline anymore. That, combined with Tesla's forecasted Model 3 production, would be detrimental to Ford. So they really need to put those recommendations underway in order to stay at the top. So in conclusion, basically, small changes will equal big success for Ford. Ford Motor Company will be around for years to come, and although they are notoriously late on trends and have had some issues with ethics in the past, the company is still headed in a good direction. The different matrices used to compare and contrast ideas resulted in some great ideas on how the company can continue to grow. Ideas such as switching from expensive aluminum to other metal to make trucks, lowering the cost of commercial vehicles, creating a generic hybrid that's more affordable, advancing into the Asian market with the top-of-the-line hybrid designs, pushing advertising of F-Series trucks, and others mentioned throughout the study will promote growth in Ford Motor Company. Thank you so much.